Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo Online. We are having a very snowy morning together, an extremely snowy Christmas morning together. And I welcome you as we gather while you are snug in your homes or in your neighbor's home, maybe because your home doesn't have power. My name is Joan Montagnes, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving you, this congregation, as minister. What a delight that is. I want to thank John Petroselli and Karen Streech for helping to make this quick pivot to an online service this morning. We had hoped to be meeting at church, but oh well, and I'm so glad you are with us. I want to explain that our service this morning is going to be quite bare bones. It's just me talking. We unfortunately can't get any music together on such short notice. The music staff have to be given 2 weeks notice to put together anything for online. So we're delighted to be together here and afar to mark this morn as holy and special, a time to remember the birth of hope, peace, love, and transformation in the middle of winter. It is time for our chalice lighting. And if you remember the words, say them with me. So first I'm going to light my match. And then there we go. The chalice is lit. And we say, we gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves, to create a more just and compassionate world. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories today. And the first one is by Ogden Nash, and it has been ever so slightly adapted for you. It's called The Boy Who Laughed at Santa Claus. In Buffalo, there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's joy, although his name was Jabez Dawes. His character was full of flaws. In school, he never led his classes. He hid old ladies' reading glasses. His mouth was open when he chewed, his elbows to the table glued. He stole the milk of hungry kittens and walked through doors marked "No admittance." He said he acted thus because there wasn't any Santa Claus. Another trick that tickled Jabez was crying "boo" at little babies. He brushed his teeth, they said in town, sideways instead of up and down. Yet people pardoned every sin and viewed his antics with a grin till they were told by Jabez Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Deploring how he did behave, his parents swiftly sought their grave. They hurried through the portals early, and Jabez left the funeral early. Like whooping cough, from child to child, he sped to spread the rumor wild. Sure as my name is Jabez Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Slunk like a weasel of a martin through nursery and kindergarten, whispering low to every tot, there isn't any, no, there's not. The children wept all Christmas Eve, and Jabez chortled up his sleeve. No infant dared hang up his stocking for fear of Jabez ribald mocking. He sprawled on his untidy bed, fresh malice dancing in his head, when presently, with scalp a tingling, Jabez heard a distant jingling. He heard the crunch of sleigh and hoof crisply alighting on the roof. What good to rise and bar the door? A shower of soot was on the floor. What was beheld by Jabez Dawes? The fireplace full of Santa Claus. Then Jabez fell upon his knees with cries of, "Don't, and pretty please." He howled, "I don't know where you read it, but anyhow, I never said it." "Jabez," replied the angry saint, "it isn't I, it's you that ain't. Although there is a Santa Claus, there isn't any Jabez Dawes." Said Jabez then with impudent vim, "Oh, yes, there is, and I am him. Your magic don't scare me, it don't." And suddenly he found he wasn't. From grimy feet to grimy locks, Jabez became a jack-in-the-box, an ugly toy with springs unsprung, forever sticking out his tongue. The neighbors heard his mournful squeal. They searched for him, but not with zeal. No trace was found of Jabez Dawes, which led to thunderous applause. And people drank a loving cup and went and hung their stockings up. All you who sneer at Santa Claus, beware the fate of Jabez Dawes, the saucy boy who mocked the saint. Donner and Blitzen licked off his paint. The second story I would like to tell you, after I told you the story of Jabez Dawes, is about a little girl named Mel who was in a Christmas pageant. This is a story told to us by Misha Sanders. And you can imagine a Christmas pageant on a Christmas morning just like this, and a bunch of preschoolers each holding up a sign that says Merry, each one gets a letter that says Merry Christmas. That was the beginning of the big production. Misha Sanders writes, there they were, 10 preschoolers in suits and fancy dresses, each holding one letter of Merry Christmas. I know they must have started out the morning with at least 14 kids, because their long-suffering choir director would not knowingly drag them onto the chancel to spell out Airy Chimsaw in front of the whole caroling congregation. I had gone to church that Christmas morning specifically to see Mel, my friend's daughter. She had campaigned for and won the coveted role of the first M for Mel, the one that starts the whole production, and she was ecstatic about her stage debut. Airy Chimsaw, the letters proclaimed. If you looked carefully, you could see that Mel and her M were not actually missing. She was indeed up there at her rehearsed mark, far left on the stage, lying prostrate on the floor, gold tulle dress flipped upside down over her face, both fists flung out ahead, the carefully glittered, crumpled M unceremoniously smooshed into the carpet under her body. Later, she clearly explained, it was a little bit too much of everything. I just needed it to stop for a minute. Next time, I will take calm breaths. And I wondered if Mel had just solved the holidays once and for all. There is so much anticipatory joy and more than a little gumption in having the grandiosity to show up for the party in a gold tulle dress in the first place. And such self-possessed wisdom in lying down and pulling it over your face when everything is too much. And it is too much, isn't it? Sometimes the final days of the unexpected pregnancy find you in a strange place where they tell you there's no room in the inn. In real life, sometimes grief looms largest in December. Sometimes there's one too many dress ups and the gold tulle makes your legs itch. I just needed it to stop for a minute. Next time, I will take calm breaths. Let's all take a few calm breaths with a quiet moment of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Divine love, help us to remember that we are all your precious children, and you delight in us even when we have the audacity to stop and take care of ourselves when it's all just a bit too much. Help us to remember that every morning brings the birth of hope, peace, and transformation. Today, we especially hold in our hearts all our neighbors, family, and friends who are suffering during this storm. And now let us open our sanctuary of memory, carrying accountability and hope to the names of all our loved ones, suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy, each name a breath and each breath a prayer. The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life is within us. The community of love is among us. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen. Ebenezer Scrooge, the Grinch, who you know, and Jabez Jaws, who you just met, they have a lot in common, don't they? They were all three miserable people and miserable party poopers who wanted to ruin everyone else's joy. They are cynics, 3 cantankerous characters who have given up. 3 nasty individuals who have allowed their hearts to shrink several times too small. Mel of the Christmas pageant had a different problem. Her heart was big, and not just big, it was all over the place. So excited about the possibility of joy that she chose to be all in with whatever her little class was doing. All in with a capital M that stands for Mel and also Mary. All in with a gold dress, all in with jingle bells and angels and Santa and everything. Until everything was just a bit too much for her big heart, and she needed to take a few calm breaths. Her long awaited Christmas balloon deflated before it had even had a chance to take off. May we be people who greet each morning like a Christmas morning, a morning of love, hope, peace, and transformation. May we be a people who welcome Scrooges with open arms, trusting that the spirits may have visited them in the night. May we be a people who sing in the morning like the Who's from Whoville, regardless of those who try to steal our joy, trusting that our happiness arises from within and from each other and cannot be stolen. May we be a people who forgive even the deniers, the bullies, the meanies, trusting that sometimes even the worst of us could benefit from some time being covered in reindeer kisses. May we be a people who greet each morning like Christmas morning, a people who embody love, hope, peace, and transformation with incarnational grace. May we be a people who allow hearts to grow to their fullest capacity. And if in their loving it all gets to be a little too much, may we be a people who hold the exhausted ones in the softness of a straw-lined manger as they take some calm breaths to heal their hearts. In the spirit of Christmas, I invite you to reach out to your friends. See how they are faring during the storm. If you have heat, welcome a family into your home for a hot meal and a shower. Find a warm place for them to spend this joyful day. Share the warmth of the Spirit and join in building the beloved community. Let's join, if you remember the words, in extinguishing our chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love. I give you a benediction from the Reverend Howard Thurman. When the song of the angels is still, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and the princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, then the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal those broken in spirit, to feed the hungry, to release the oppressed, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among all peoples, to make a little music in the heart. Remember, you are blessed. Remember, you are a blessing. And above all else, remember, you are not alone. You are never alone. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen. Merry Christmas, everyone. Mwah.